Every morning long before the Roman Empire stirred, an emperor faced his first and greatest battle not against barbarians or conspirators, but against the weakness within. While his generals dreamed of conquest, Marcus Aurelius conquered something far more difficult himself. His weapon was not a sword nor an army, it was discipline, silent, relentless, unbreakable. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself," and Marcus lived by that truth. Each sunrise, he forged his mind in the fire of routine, the kind of habits that most people today run from. While others chase motivation, he chose mastery. While others seek comfort, he sought control. These are the 7 brutal morning laws that shaped an emperor, and if you have the courage to follow them, they will not just change your mornings, they will kill your weakness and forge the strength of a Stoic within you. So take a breath and step into the discipline of a king. Law 1, rise before comfort. Every morning begins with a battle, not outside of you but within you. In the quiet darkness before dawn, while the world still sleeps, your comfort whispers, stay. Just 5 more minutes. But discipline, that ancient warrior, replies, rise. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, faced the same battle over 1800 years ago. He wrote in his meditations at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. This was not poetry. This was survival. Because the Stoics believed every morning the mind either conquers the body or becomes its slave. The first victory of the day is not at the gym, not in your inbox. It's the moment you decide to stand up when it's easier to stay down. Think about it: in a world drowning in comfort, getting up early is rebellion. Not against society, but against your own weakness. A 2023 study from the University of Toronto found that people who wake before 6 a.m. report 23% higher productivity, 17% better mental health, and 31% greater self-discipline than those who don't. Why? Because they begin the day with intention, not reaction. When you wake early, you steal time from chaos. You enter the world before it demands anything of you. The Stoics called this prohoresis, the inner citadel, the power of choice. Marcus trained it every morning. Imagine him the most powerful man on earth, yet still reminding himself, don't act as if you will live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. That's not comfort, that's command. But this isn't just philosophy, it's practical. Here's your Stoic morning practice for today. Step 1, set your intention the night before. Don't just set an alarm, write down your why. Step 2, when the alarm rings, sit up immediately. Don't negotiate with weakness. Step 3, say out loud, I rise to do the work of a human being. Step 4, move even 5 push-ups or a splash of cold water. Remind your body who's in control. Step 5, write down 1 act of virtue you will practice today: courage, patience, or gratitude. That's how you build your fortress before the world invades. Seneca once said, it is not that we have a short life, but that we waste much of it. Every morning you sleep through, you trade potential for comfort. You sell your greatness for a blanket. And comfort, my friend, is the enemy that smiles. It whispers you deserve rest. But what you deserve is purpose. The Stoic morning is sacred because it's when the mind remembers what truly matters, not pleasure, but progress. Imagine this: the sun hasn't yet touched the marble pillars of Rome. Marcus stands alone, writing by candlelight. His generals are asleep. The empire rests. And yet the emperor writes words meant only for himself, never to be published, never to impress. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's the mindset you awaken when you rise before comfort. You stop chasing motivation. You become motivation. And here's the paradox. The more you resist comfort, the more peace you feel. Because peace doesn't come from an easy morning, it comes from a conquered one. In time, that 5 a.m., silence becomes addictive. It's your temple, your battlefield, your victory. You begin to crave the discipline others fear, because you've tasted power not over others but over yourself. So tomorrow morning, when comfort whispers again, remember Marcus. Remember the emperor who rose not to rule Rome, but to rule himself. Rise before comfort. Because that's where your strength begins. That's where weakness dies. And that's where your true life starts. In the next law, Marcus teaches how to control not just your morning, but your mind. Because if you cannot master your thoughts, you cannot master your life. Stay with me and step into Law Number 2, control your thoughts before they control you. Law 2, control your thoughts before they control you. You can wake before the sun. You can train your body, make your bed, drink your cold water. But if your mind is undisciplined, everything collapses. Because the strongest fortress you'll ever build isn't made of stone or steel. It's made of thoughts. Marcus Aurelius ruled over millions, commanded armies, and yet he wrote this simple truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Those words are a map, because the Stoics believe the quality of your life depends entirely on the quality of your thoughts. Every morning, the world tries to invade your mind. Your phone lights up. The news screams. Notifications demand your attention. Without realizing it, your mind becomes a battlefield not against the world, but against your own reactions. The Stoics called this war logos, the reasoned mind versus the impulsive one. Marcus practiced this daily. Before the empire woke, he would write his defenses, his reminders, his shields. He trained his thoughts like a soldier sharpens a sword not once, but every single morning. Here's the paradox. You cannot control the world, but you can control your perception of it. The storm is not what destroys you, it's your belief that it shouldn't exist. That's why Marcus wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Let's break that down. When someone insults you, that's not the pain. The pain comes when you agree with the insult. When life gives you delay, that's not the suffering. The suffering begins when you say this shouldn't happen. In the morning, your mind is clay. What you allow in during those first hours shapes everything that follows. If you start your day reacting, you spend your life defending. If you start your day directing, you spend your life creating. So here's your Stoic mind training for today. Step 1. The moment you wake up, don't touch your phone. Give your mind 10 minutes of silence. Let your first thoughts be your own, not the world's. Step 2. Journal for 5 minutes. Draw 2 columns, one labeled, within my control, the other beyond my control. Write what's worrying you and separate the real from the illusion. Step 3. Choose your mental posture. Ask yourself, what virtue will I live by today? Courage, patience, temperance. Then carry it with you like armor. Step 4. When chaos strikes, pause, breathe, and repeat the words of Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That one line could save your peace 1,000 times a day. Modern science now echoes what Marcus knew centuries ago. A 2022 Harvard study found that people who practiced daily mindfulness journaling reduced emotional reactivity by 27% and increased focus by nearly 35%. Marcus didn't need neuroscience to prove it, he lived it. He built an empire inside his own head before ruling one in the world. Think about how many mornings you've lost scrolling, comparing, reacting. The Stoic doesn't react, he responds. Because between the event and the emotion, there is a choice, and that choice defines your strength. Imagine Marcus sitting in his chamber, the empire in turmoil, enemies at the border plague, in the city, betrayal in the Senate. And yet he writes calmly, today I shall meet interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, betrayal. They cannot harm me, for none of them can touch my mind. That's Stoic power, not coldness, but clarity, not detachment, but control. When your thoughts are trained, you stop being a slave to mood, fear, or gossip. You stop being pulled by every wave and start becoming the ocean itself. Each morning, remind yourself, my mind is my kingdom. Guard it like an emperor guards his gates. Because if you lose your mind in the morning, the rest of the day becomes a negotiation with chaos. So tomorrow, before you let the world in, stop, write, reflect, direct. Choose how you will think before life chooses for you. Because the mind is the origin of everything, peace, courage, focus, or destruction. Control your thoughts and you control your destiny. Marcus said, our life is what our thoughts make it. And that is not philosophy, it's physics of the soul. Your task today is simple. Don't chase positivity. Don't avoid negativity. Just master awareness. Because once you can observe your thoughts without obeying them, you've already won the battle Marcus fought every morning. So rise not just before the sun, but before distraction. Command your thoughts before they command you. Because only when you master the inner world can you truly lead in the outer one. Next, we'll uncover Law 3, embrace discomfort, where Marcus reveals that growth doesn't happen in comfort zones, but in the fire you dare to walk through. Law 3, embrace discomfort. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It doesn't attack you loudly, it seduces you quietly. It tells you, you've done enough. Take it easy. You deserve to rest. And that's how it wins, not through pain, but through pleasure. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone. He was born into privilege surrounded by luxury, yet he refused to let comfort rule him. He trained his mind like a warrior and his soul like a monk. He wrote, "Do not indulge in comfort. For what is comfort but a slow death of the will?" To Marcus, discomfort wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The Stoics believed that every hardship is an opportunity to train the soul. Seneca said, "The man who has been tested by suffering knows his strength." Today, most people run from discomfort, they avoid it, medicate it, scroll it away. But the Stoic runs toward it, because what you avoid controls you, and what you face transforms you. Marcus didn't just talk about this. He lived it. He faced war plague, betrayal, and loss. Yet his writings are calm, measured, almost peaceful. He didn't ask for an easier life, he trained for a harder one. He knew that the universe gives you the exact weight you need to grow stronger. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your teacher. And every morning, life gives you small lessons if you dare to listen. The cold shower that shocks you awake, the workout your body resists, the silence that feels awkward. Each is a test, a whisper from the Stoics saying, train here. Master this. Modern science agrees. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that people who voluntarily faced physical discomfort, such as cold exposure or intense exercise, showed a 29% increase in stress resilience and a 38% increase in emotional regulation. In simple terms, the more you face discomfort, the less control it has over you. When Marcus wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way," he wasn't being poetic. He was revealing the secret formula of growth. The obstacle isn't blocking your path. It is your path. Here's your Stoic challenge for today. Step 1. Do one thing that makes you uncomfortable every morning. It could be waking up earlier, taking a cold shower, running in the rain, or speaking truth when silence is easier. Step 2. When discomfort appears, don't label it as bad. Say instead, "Here is my training." Marcus didn't curse the storm, he studied it. So when something frustrates you today, stop and ask, what muscle of my mind is this moment trying to build? Step 3. Write it down. Keep a discomfort journal. At the end of each day, note what tested you and what it taught you. Because wisdom grows in reflection, not in avoidance. Seneca once warned, softness comes from luxury, strength from struggle. If you want to live like a Stoic, you must unlearn the modern addiction to ease. When life feels uncomfortable, that's not failure, it's the sign you're growing. Think about every person you admire, athletes, leaders, creators. They all have one thing in common: they've learned to befriend discomfort. Michael Phelps swam in freezing pools for years before he broke Olympic records. Epictetus was born a slave and became one of history's greatest philosophers. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while fighting illness and grief and still found peace. Their secret wasn't talent, it was training. They practiced doing the hard things when no one was watching. So when your morning feels tough, when your bed is warm, and your motivation is gone, remember this: discomfort is not there to stop you. It's there to sculpt you. Each small act of courage builds the foundation of greatness. The Stoic doesn't chase pleasure, he pursues purpose, because he knows that a comfortable life rarely builds a strong soul. Ask yourself right now, when was the last time you chose the harder path, not because you had to, but because it made you better? When was the last time you looked at something painful and said, "This is my teacher"? Discomfort is not suffering, it's tuition. And every time you pay it, you buy freedom. Freedom from fear, weakness, and dependence on comfort. Marcus reminded himself daily, remember that nature has made you to endure. You were born to rise through trials, not sink beneath them. So tomorrow morning, when that cold water touches your skin, don't resist it, respect it. Because that pain is ancient. It's the same chill Marcus felt 2,000 years ago, preparing himself to face an empire. And in that moment, you're not just taking a shower, you're continuing the ritual of the Stoics. Let discomfort become your ally, because on the other side of it lies focus, strength, and peace. Embrace discomfort, Not because it's pleasant, but because it's real. And reality accepted without resistance is the birthplace of power. Next, enter Law 4, serve before you consume, where Marcus reveals that true strength doesn't come from what you take, but from what you give. Law 4, serve before you consume. The modern world begins every morning with consumption. We wake, we grab our phones, we scroll. Before our minds have a chance to breathe, we're already feeding on noise, comparison, and distraction. But Marcus Aurelius began each morning with a question, not what can I take, but what can I give? He wrote, "The fruit of this life is good character and acts for the common good." Those words were his compass, a reminder that life's true meaning isn't found in what we gather, but in what we contribute. To serve before you consume is to live against the grain of modern life. It is rebellion against selfishness, vanity, and the hunger for more. It is to say, my first act today will not be about me, it will be about purpose. Marcus understood that service is not weakness. It's strength refined by humility. He commanded armies, ruled an empire, and yet he served his people quietly through discipline, justice, and compassion. He knew leadership wasn't domination, but devotion. Seneca once wrote, "No man can live happily who looks only to himself. He must live for others if he wishes to live for himself." That wasn't just advice, it was a warning, because the self-centered life always ends in emptiness. Let's be honest, every morning the temptation is to consume. To check messages, social media, caffeine stimulation. But the Stoic morning begins with restraint, a pause before indulgence. It's a sacred moment where you choose contribution over consumption. So how do you serve before you consume? Start small. Before you reach for your phone, reach for your thoughts. Ask yourself, who can I help today? What value can I create? What problem can I solve? Service doesn't require a crowd. It could mean helping one person, sending a message of gratitude, finishing the work that others depend on, or simply showing up with integrity when no one expects it. Marcus didn't post quotes to inspire millions. He wrote his meditations for himself, but his self-mastery became a service to humanity. His private discipline turned into public legacy. That's what happens when you choose service over self. And here's something science confirms again. A 2020 Yale University study found that performing a small act of service, even as simple as writing an encouraging note, boosted happiness levels by 45% and reduced anxiety by 28%. Service literally rewires your brain to feel more grounded and fulfilled. The Stoics didn't see service as charity. They saw it as alignment with nature because the universe itself serves. The sun rises for everyone, not just the worthy. The tree bears fruit for those who planted it and for those who didn't. To serve is to live in harmony with this design. Marcus often reminded himself, what brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee. Every morning he measured his worth not by comfort, but by contribution. Imagine the emperor at dawn, no crown, no throne, just parchment and candlelight. He writes, "Let no act be done without purpose. Let no day pass without usefulness." He didn't wait for motivation, he created meaning by movement. So here's your Stoic morning ritual for service. Step 1, before consuming anything, phone, food, or entertainment. Do one act of service. Send a message of gratitude. Help a colleague, mentor a friend. Plan something that improves others' lives. Step 2, keep a service ledger. Each morning, write one way you will give. Each evening, write one way you did. This isn't moral boasting, it's a reminder that purpose compounds like interest. Step 3, when life feels meaningless, don't chase pleasure, increase service. As Marcus said, waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Service is the antidote to ego. Consumption says, I need more. Service says, I already have enough, now I can give. And when you serve, you stop being a consumer of life, you become a creator of it. You stop chasing happiness because contribution becomes happiness. Remember, no empire, no fortune, no fame can replace the quiet satisfaction of knowing that today you made something or someone better. So tomorrow morning when the world calls you to consume, pause. Take a breath. Ask, what would Marcus do, and answer it with action. Serve before you consume. Because when you give first, life gives back tenfold. And as you cultivate this habit, something extraordinary happens. You no longer wake up needing energy. You wake up with it. Because nothing fuels the human spirit like the feeling of purpose. Marcus didn't serve for reward. He served because service was his nature, and so should you. Next, we enter Law 5, Guard Your Energy, where Marcus reveals how to protect your inner strength from the chaos of the world and turn focus into a weapon. Law 5, Guard Your Energy. Every morning you wake with a limited amount of energy, a currency more precious than time. Because time can be borrowed, but energy must be earned. And yet most people give it away for free. They scroll through arguments they'll never win, absorb news they can't change, and spend their mornings reacting instead of directing. Marcus Aurelius knew this trap well. He wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." That line is more than philosophy, it's neuroscience 2,000 years ahead of its time. What you focus on, you feed. And what you feed grows. Marcus understood that his greatest duty as emperor was not to control Rome, but to control himself. He couldn't rule an empire if he couldn't rule his mind. So he built invisible walls, not around his palace, but around his attention. He called it the inner citadel, the fortress of the soul that guards peace against chaos. Guarding your energy means protecting that citadel. It means not allowing every opinion, every distraction, every negative person to enter and poison your focus. Because energy leaks begin with attention leaks. A 2021 Stanford study showed that the average person switches mental focus over 600 times a day and loses up to 40% of productive energy doing so. You're not tired because you did too much. You're tired because you did too much of what doesn't matter. Marcus would rise early, sit with his journal, and write his daily commandments. He used those pages to reset his energy, to decide where his attention would go and what would not be allowed to touch it. He wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Those weren't moral lines, they were energy rules. He knew that gossip drains the mind. Complaining weakens the will, and resentment is poison disguised as pride. To guard your energy is to become selective about your battles. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every storm deserves your ship. Here's your Stoic practice for energy mastery. Step 1, audit your attention. Each morning, write down the 3 things that matter most today. If it's not on that list, it's noise. Step 2, silence before noise. Don't check messages the first hour you're awake. Start with your mind, not the world. Marcus would spend that first hour strengthening his inner voice before the outer world could drown it. Step 3, guard your circle. Surround yourself with people who challenge you quietly, not drain you loudly. Epictetus said, "Show me your friends and I will show you your future." Energy is contagious. Protect yours by choosing your company with wisdom. Step 4, close the loops. Unfinished tasks drain you silently. Each unchecked box, each ignored promise, they pull energy like open wounds. Finish what you start or decide consciously to end it. Step 5, journal to recharge. Marcus's journal was not for performance, it was for purification. Each night he emptied his mind so that tomorrow's energy would not carry yesterday's weight. Think about this. If energy is the fuel of life, focus is the steering wheel. Without focus, you'll burn through all your fuel going nowhere. Seneca warned, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." To guard your energy is to choose one direction and walk it with intention. But this doesn't mean isolation. It means conservation, the art of spending energy only where it multiplies, never where it drains. Marcus served an empire in constant turmoil, yet he found peace in discipline. He faced betrayal, death, and war, yet his energy remained calm because he refused to let the outside world own his inner one. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is not born from more caffeine, more hours, or more hustle. It's born from clarity, the courage to say no. No to endless scrolling, no to arguing with fools, no to chasing validation. Because every no you say to the world becomes a yes to yourself." Modern life celebrates speed, but the Stoic honors stillness. You don't need to move faster, you need to move with purpose. Guarding your energy is how you move slow, but strong, calm, but unstoppable. So tomorrow morning, before you let the world pull at you, stop. Ask yourself, where will my energy go today? Who deserves my attention? What deserves my effort? Write it, protect it, live it. Marcus did this every morning, not as a philosopher, but as a human being trying to stay sane in chaos. And you can too, because when you guard your energy, you guard your peace. And peace is the highest form of power. Guard your energy fiercely, fearlessly, faithfully. And when you do, you'll have enough strength left to serve the world without losing yourself. Next, we'll explore Law 6, accept what comes, where Marcus teaches us that the greatest power of all is surrender, not giving up, but rising above. Law 6, accept what comes. Every morning, life delivers something unexpected. A delay, a disappointment, a plan that falls apart before it begins. Most people meet these moments with frustration. The Stoic meets them with acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That single line is one of the most powerful truths ever written because it transforms pain into progress. To the Stoic, acceptance is not weakness. It's strength in disguise. It is saying, I do not control what happens, but I control who I become because of it. Every obstacle, every failure, every uncomfortable surprise, it's not an interruption of your path. It is your path. Marcus faced plague, betrayal, the death of his children, and endless wars, yet he refused to curse fate. He wrote, everything that happens is either endurable or unavoidable. If it's endurable, endure it. If it's unavoidable, accept it. That's not resignation, that's power. When you resist what you cannot change, you suffer twice, once from the event and once from your refusal to let go. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means seeing clearly. There's a story told about Marcus during a military campaign. A messenger brought news that an entire Roman battalion had fallen in a snowstorm. His advisors expected rage or despair. Instead, Marcus closed his eyes and whispered, "It was within nature's design. Let us do what remains within ours." Then he calmly organized rescue and supply for the survivors. That Stoic mastery, calm in the storm, not because the storm is small, but because the mind is greater. Here's the Stoic paradox. The more you fight reality, the weaker you become. The more you accept it, the stronger you grow. A 2018 study from Harvard's Department of Psychology found that people who practiced daily acceptance-based reflection had 35% higher emotional resilience and 43% lower stress markers. Marcus knew that 2,000 years before science confirmed it. He didn't need data, he had wisdom. Acceptance is the art of turning chaos into clarity. It's the difference between why me and what now. Every morning something will go wrong, you'll spill coffee, miss a call, face criticism. The untrained mind reacts. The Stoic pauses, breathes, and sees the lesson. Seneca said fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. You can be dragged through the day by resistance or led through it by acceptance. Here's your Stoic morning practice for acceptance. Step 1. Before you start your day, remind yourself today, things will not go as planned and that's okay. This simple pre-acceptance removes half your stress before it begins. Step 2. When frustration arises, don't say, why is this happening to me? Say instead, this is happening for me. Then look for the skill, it's training patience, adaptability, humility. Step 3. Keep a memento mori reminder. Look at it each morning, a small symbol of mortality. It's not morbid, it's clarifying. When you remember that time is short, small inconveniences lose their power. Step 4. Reflect at night. What tested me today? What did it teach me that turns every obstacle into a lesson and every lesson into strength? Marcus lived by this rhythm. He accepted the world not because it was perfect, but because resistance wasted time that could be used for virtue. He wrote, do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. That's acceptance, not passive, but powerful. It's saying I can't control the wave, but I can learn to surf. When you accept, you conserve your energy. When you resist, you leak it. And the person who accepts reality moves forward faster than the one who argues with it. Think of life like a bowstring. Pull it too tight and it snaps. Leave it too loose and it fails to launch. Acceptance is that perfect tension control where you can release where you must. Marcus didn't demand the world to bend to him. He bent his attitude to the world and found peace no emperor could buy. Acceptance is not surrender. It's strategy. It's how you stay undefeated in a world that will never stop testing you. So tomorrow morning, when life throws you something unexpected, smile. Don't ask for it to be easier. Ask to be stronger. Remember Marcus' words. The obstacle becomes the way, and with that truth, no morning can break you, it can only make you. Accept what comes. Because when you stop resisting reality, you start mastering it. Next, enter Law 7, Reflect on Mortality, where Marcus reveals the ultimate Stoic secret that remembering death is not about fear, it's about learning how to live. Law 7, Reflect on Mortality. Every sunrise is a reminder one day you won't see another. And that truth, if faced with courage, doesn't create fear, it creates focus. Marcus Aurelius began many of his mornings with a thought most people spend their lives avoiding. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do say and think. Those are not words of despair. They are a call to live with urgency and gratitude. The Stoics practiced what they called memento mori. Remember that you must die, not to worship death, but to wake the mind, to remind themselves that the clock is ticking and meaning is not found in years, it's found in moments. When you remember death, you stop wasting life. Marcus lived surrounded by it. Plagues swept through Rome. His armies fell to illness. His own children died before him. And yet, instead of despair, he wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. While it is in your power, be good." He understood that every morning was borrowed time, and borrowed time is sacred. Most people live as if they'll live forever, planning endlessly, delaying what matters, arguing over what doesn't. But the Stoic looks at the dawn and says, I have this day. Nothing more is promised. Let me live it fully. Seneca once said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Think about that. It's not time that's lacking. It's attention. The modern world is drowning in distraction, scrolling, chasing, complaining, waiting. We fear death so much that we numb ourselves from life. But Marcus saw it differently. He saw death as the ultimate teacher, because only the awareness of an ending gives meaning to the beginning. To reflect on mortality is to sharpen the blade of purpose. It's the reminder that the opportunity to live, to breathe, to think, to love is temporary and therefore priceless. So here's your Stoic morning practice for mortality. Step 1, begin with gratitude. Before you check your phone, take one deep breath and whisper to yourself, I woke up, am alive. I get one more chance. That one thought will change the way you see everything. Step 2, visualize impermanence. Look around your room. Everything you see, the coffee, the sunrise, the person beside you, will one day be gone. Not to depress you, but to remind you this moment is rare. Treat it as sacred. Step 3, write one line of legacy. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, how would I speak? What would I create? How would I treat others? Then do it, because every act of goodness, no matter how small, is a line in your story, a story that outlives you. Step 4, end the day with reflection. Before sleep, repeat Marcus' words. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Science has finally caught up to the Stoics. A 2022 study from the University of California found that people who regularly practice mortality reflection, thinking about the finite nature of life, reported a 52% increase in life satisfaction and a 41% reduction in anxiety. Awareness of death doesn't cause despair, it gives life depth. Marcus knew this instinctively. He ruled an empire, yet saw himself as dust in the grand design. He said, all that you see will soon perish. Those who witness it will perish too. Only one thing endures: virtue. That is the Stoic way to live so well that when death comes, you're ready, not because you wanted it, but because you lived without waste. Imagine this scene. Marcus sits in his tent after a long battle. The air is cold, his soldiers asleep. He opens his journal and writes by candlelight. Soon you will have forgotten all things. Soon all things will have forgotten you. Let virtue be enough. Then he closes the book and rests in peace. That is not morbid, that is mastery. To accept mortality is to stop fearing it. And when you stop fearing death, you start living. So tomorrow morning when you open your eyes, remember you are one sunrise closer to your last. And that is not tragedy, that is a blessing. Because when you live like time is short, you live like it matters. You stop waiting to be brave. You stop waiting to love. You stop waiting to begin. You simply live fully, fiercely, freely. As Marcus wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." So breathe, look at the sun, thank life for this one more morning, then live it as if it's the only one you'll ever have. That is how the Stoic kills weakness forever, not by chasing eternity, but by honoring every fragile, beautiful, fleeting moment of life. You don't need a throne to be a king. You just need to rule yourself. Follow these 7 laws for 7 days and watch your weakness dissolve into strength. Each sunrise, you'll rise higher, calmer, sharper, unbreakable. This isn't motivation, it's transformation. The timeless discipline of Marcus Aurelius, reborn for your modern war. If this message struck a chord, subscribe now to Making Life Better, the home of warriors who choose strength over comfort, purpose over pleasure, mastery over mediocrity. Share this video with someone fighting their own weakness, because warriors rise together. Now comment one word that defines your next 7 days. Comment unbreakable if you refuse to quit. Comment discipline if patience is your prophet. Your word is your weapon. Your mind is your kingdom. And your discipline, that is your freedom.